Alright, it's all up to me, huh? Okay. Me and Khepri, Khepri. Me and Khepri. Me and myself and I. Me and Kukulkan. Hello everyone, welcome back to SMITE Khepri support guides. I realized I had completely forgotten about the existence of the existence of Siege. I wish I could speak words. I swear I speak English. I swear I'm a native English speaker. Honest. Also, apparently there's some drama from before. Double Mage Lane. My mouse, something happened to my mouse, but that's alright. My mouse pointer, I guess. Yeah, see, my mouse is turned invisible. You can barely see it. Depending on how large your screen is that you're viewing this on, you may not even see it at all. It's ridiculous. I don't know what happened. I was just making sure that my microphone was functioning properly, and okay, so alright. I'm going to make a wild assumption and say that Ra is probably with... Oh, that's actually tough. Maybe Naja? The aggression of Naja would be counterbalanced by the defensiveness of Ra. The question is, who am I going to wind up with? Why did they pick... They did pick two... You're kidding me. They actually did it. The Mad Lads. Okay, that's a thing. Alright, so we're definitely going to need anti-heal at some point in the very near future. Let me see, what am I going to want to start with? Probably Sovereignty, because that'll also help against the towers and minions a decent amount, give us some moderate sustain. I don't know who I'm going to wind up being with, but we are definitely not going to have a particularly pleasant time of this. Should I go War Flag? Questions that haunt us? No. I don't think that would ultimately be a good idea in the long run for the primary reason that... I'm actually going to buy Cursed Ankh. No, I'm not. I'm going to grab, Med Cloak, actually. Anyways, back to the main point. Okay, so they're going to be in one lane together. That's bad. You don't generally want two of the same damage type in one lane, because that means the opposition can just quickly grab a protection item versus that particular damage type and have a really sweet, smooth early game. The enemy team is way more balanced than we are, and my expectations for this game are not high, to be completely honest. We may still win, but I'm just not optimistic about this, because our early game is going to be rough because they're double mage. And that's also going to hurt our late game. I mistimed that slightly. But that's alright. Oh, that's mine. Yeah, that's yours. Alright. They went right. I take the mana buff. I can tank. There we go. Notice that he's basically got no HP damage because of my passive. Or we have Naja and Ra. That's actually really good for us because neither of them have a legitimate escape. I missed that completely. We just go ahead and pop this right off. Nice. He was so panicked he didn't even try to kill me, and he probably could have, honestly. What the heck? Put that down over there. I'm gonna wait for the grand move from Naja. I'm expecting him to go from me. He's probably gonna try to hit level 5. and then try to kill me. If I had to take a guess. We're just going to wait for the ambush. I know for a fact that a lot of people, a lot of players go into the jungle to back and siege. Because it's a little harder to stop them from backing there, and you're never sure if it's an ambush like this or if it's... Well, my aura is throwing that away, but that's beside the point. That was way too early of an ult. I ulted him way far and away too early for that. He's going to try to... Alright. Oh, great, thanks. By the way, which one of them died? Because neither of us did. Cool, con. Alright. Oh, hello. Nope. Holy cow. That was exciting. Wow. Alright, sure. Gauntlet of Thebes next, actually. I've got what I need for the time being. I want to grab the extra protections. We're definitely going to need it, considering our team comp is so horrendously unbalanced. I'll definitely want to be picking up Voidstone at some point as well, because the enemy team will very likely be stacking magic protections if they're smart. So I'll need to have some kind of answer for that. I whiffed that really bad. Let me see if I can... Yep. Just stand here in the Tornado of Doom. We're good? Yeah, right. Nice miss. Not entirely her fault, though. That's a bit of a tough ability to land. Did you really just... You're insane. Thanks. You know what? I'm gonna go around this way. Gonna hear this here. Oh my goodness. Get him. What the heck? What is this game? This is rapidly going downhill. You want to fight me? Yeah? That's what I thought, punk. I wasn't aiming for you, but alright. Whew. This is absolutely wild. Oh, hey, wait, we have a Juggernaut. I am totally using that. Love Juggernauts. Let's go. Let's be awesome. Nope. I don't particularly want to tank this, thank you. Let's just take the tower. Heck. Ignore the Thoth. Who cares about him? Kukulkan does. Alright. Okay, so much for the ward. Can you put the... Uh-huh. The ultimate distraction. Are you insane? Are you gonna fight me now? Yeah, you are. You're gonna keep on going for me. Alright. What the heck? Really? Actually, I can stop him from escaping. Oh, man. That's awesome. This game is wild. What the heck? That's amazing. I mean, I can try anyways. I'm not sure how successful I'll be, but... Alright. Nice, perfect. Thank you. You spawned right into it. Nice. Come here. Oh no. Have some heals. Oh, that was a really nicely timed ult. What the heck? He tried to ult me just as he was dying. Oh, hold on, we can cut this guy off. I actually didn't think I was going to kill him with that, but it's fine. Naja, is that his damaged camp? Did you just... You did not waste your ult. Alright. Just in case. There we go. What? That Anher should have got that. Nasha just walks away. He goes on. Nasha takes one look at me and just turns around and leaves. Oh no. I've inspired fear in my enemies. Oh man, that's really hilarious. Okay, let's grab Voidstone really quick. Let's capitalize on his disgusting behavior. Oh, that's funny. Oh man, I think that made my night. Yo, that was hilarious. What are you gonna do to my boy Kukulkan, huh? What do you think you're gonna do here? What do you think you're doing? You're not doing anything. Good dodge, good dodge. I'm working on it. Ah, that's a shame. Oh, I've missed everything there. Which is fair enough, I guess. You run away from me? What is this? What is this game? I should have been with Kukulkan, but I got very distracted. Oh, I gotta stop that. That's not even gonna be a problem. I'm Khepri. Save up my Rising Dawn for when the Juggernaut gets here. Oh, I missed that completely. Yeah? Let's see if he dies. He does not, but he stays too. What? Oh my goodness. Alright, I need mana. I also need some physical protections, but I don't have time for that right now. No, I don't want to surrender. Ah, shoot. Nope. So I gotta take care of this. Kukulkan has that. Oh, I'm gonna kill him, actually. No, I'm not. I'm alone. Nice. No, I'm gonna die. I tried to live. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, I gotta get some physical protections here. Go for Breastplate of Valor, I think. And I'll probably splash in a little bit more magic protections, yeah. I'm just trying to decide what I should go with. Not Winged Blade, because the only slow they have is... Well, they have 2 slows out of 2 of their players, so I think maybe Winged Blade wouldn't necessarily be the worst idea here. Then again, some form of self-heal would be nice, unless they're building serious anti-heal. They are not. Okay. Well, maybe we'll go with some... Maybe we'll take the Mail of Renewal. That would probably be very helpful. Because the only one that's going to trigger Stone of Gaia would be Naja. And that would only be with his ult. And there's no earthly reason he would want to ult me. So I'm going to just assume he won't ult me because it doesn't make sense. Good call. Good call. That was a good dodge he had there. I can't see anything. There's too much going on here. I'm blind. He tried. He tried. Respectable effort. What the heck? Okay. That was pretty potent. Get out of here. Nice. Oh, he beads that. Nice. Oh, no. I was going to try to save her, but I was too late. Alright. Did not hit that. I'll take it. I'm going to die. I just immediately die. Fair enough. Yeah, we desperately need some form of healing for this group. Mail of Renewal definitely is required here. Let me see. Anhur should be up in time to defend the Phoenix. At this particular point, I really just need to be trying to support my team as much as possible. They are going to have an advantage here defensively. Let me see. Yeah, Naja built Runic Shield, which is very, very smart move. Achilles has... Again, we have the physical protections first. And he was on this side with the double mages, so that makes even less sense. Talisman of Energy is a good move. Kind of. Okay, I can kind of see that. Alright, it's all up to me, huh? Okay. Me and Khepri. Me and Khepri. Me and myself and I. Me and Kukulkan. That killed him? Wait, how did he die to that? Interesting. I mean, there's the good old-fashioned teammate toxicity here. They can't really push this too hard, though. Oh, they're pushing down the other side. That makes sense. Okay. That's fair enough. I just need to stall out in time for Anhur, which I managed easily. Alright, so that's fine there. Now we can go left and defend that. Theoretically. Can I leave Anhur alone over here? Probably not. Good, good. What? Alright. Oh, that was a mistake. Yeah? Now what, punk? I've got what I need. Nice. Mine. Oh, you are doomed. That kills him. Okay. I whiffed that completely. Alright. Nice. Perfect. Excellent. Come on, kill him. There you go. We just continue to steal kills by accident. Oh, good beads. Very nice. We can kill him, we can kill him. He's still ours. Good Aegis, though. Take him, take him, take him. Nice. He's building protections, mad protections. Okay, good body block. Okay, nice, dodge. Although that was, I think, more accidental. Doesn't matter. Oh, no, you made a mistake. Oh, I missed. I gotta go. I gotta go. Nah, it's not gonna survive in time for me to come back to it. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. That's alright. That's alright. Okay. I have overcapped protections. I should probably do something about that. Should sell sovereignty and get something else. Is he gonna make it? That depends on if Achilles' ult is up. Good play, good play. No, you're not going anywhere, son. Did you just... Ah ha ha! His big shot at getting out of there. Destroyed. Oh no, I dragged you into the tornado. Oh, you're so doomed. And I hit you with that too. And that's you dead. Perfect. Alright, we did successfully... I forgot to mention this, but we did successfully take the left Phoenix, so that means we should be okay here. Now, we're fine, we're fine. We're alright. You aren't gonna have the time for that. Oh, wow, that was dangerous. Wow, that was nice. Oh, I'm stuck on the obelisk. Oh, no. I'll take that, I guess. Yeah? What you punks got? How did he slip through that? I have some questions. This is a good dodge, good dodge. Doesn't make a huge difference. It is a trap. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's down. Let's take the Juggernaut. This could be this could be just what we need. This could tip the scales in our favor. Yes. Excellent. Alright, good, good. How overcapped am I on protections specifically? Yeah, it doesn't tell you. Alright. I'll have to... Well, when I die, I won't have my Sovereignty aura or my Gauntlet of Thebes aura, so that'll tell me how much more I'm up by, because I should be... If I'm up by 25, I should have 300 only. Yep. I know they are. We need to see if we can do a rush. Stop them just in time. Just take it, just take it, just take it. Nice, nice. Oh, I whipped that completely. Excellent, excellent. I don't care about that damage. We need to take care of the minions first. Mine. You're mine. Oh, you're dead. What is this? Nope, you are not going to today. I'll body block all your stupid little twerp shots. I whipped that completely, but I also dodged that, so that's kind of... I'm not sure how to feel about that, but that works, that works. Holy cow, that was an incredible game. That was awesome. Holy cow. I cannot believe we scraped by that one. Zoinks and jinkies. Wow. Alright. So, nice. I mean, they were kind of toxic, but they did play really well. So what actually happened? How did we win that? I mean, besides this barely scraping by with, slightly luck. But what actually happened? Well, the turning point really was us killing the wild juggernaut. But why were we able to get that? What created that opportunity for us when they were slightly ahead of us? Well, a couple of things. First off, when they were attacking left lane with the juggernaut, originally it was just Naja. Alright. Then it was Achilles. It was basically what happened in the Clash games. Where my allies were going in one by one. A similar kind of thing was happening for the enemy team. They kept fighting us one-on-one. First Naja went in, then Achilles attacked us from behind just as Naja was dying. And while Thoth was there pretty consistently for both of their experiences, Ra was not there. Or was it Ra being there? I think Ra was there, but very late. I can't remember. Well, one of the two mages was there. I can't remember which one of the two was late. But one of the two mages was late to the party. And when the two mages were there, they were kind of hanging out in the jungle, and they really didn't enter the lane to help Achilles out, so Achilles was basically abandoned and died alone, which, I mean, also considering that he came in from behind the Phoenix, was a highly risky move in the first place. And they just really couldn't afford that. So once the Achilles and Naja died, then all we had to do was either scare off Thoth and Ra enough where we could get the Wild Juggernaut, or as what actually happened, we did wind up eliminating them, giving us the opportunity we needed to get the Juggernaut. Now they tried to push down left lane as quickly as possible, which wasn't a bad idea, but we had the Juggernaut, which actually was the tipping point there, as I predicted, although I didn't expect it to be quite so significant. I was expecting it to be a little bit of an advantage. Maybe we could take a Phoenix and switch up the pressure and actually start to slowly apply pressure that way. But it turns out that they were trying to rush down the left lane, so by having a Juggernaut in the right lane, we were able to not only force them to back and defend the Titan due to us having a Juggernaut in that lane, but it also was it was able to damage and tank the Titan at the end there, giving me the time I needed to really keep my allies alive as best as I could, although the Anhur did a great job of keeping himself alive, and supporting my teammates to make sure that they could do the damage to the enemy Titan that they needed to do. So just the fact that we had the Juggernaut there at the end to tank the Titan for me was extremely impactful. But let's talk about builds, because the way I actually specifically built, this will actually tell me how much overcapped I was. Physical protections, I was actually not that far over the cap, to be completely honest. I had the 10 from this, and I got the 15 from this, so 25. And then there would have been the Sentinel's Embrace, which would have been 40. So, yeah, I was over by about 15. Alright. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, so anyways, I built Sovereignty right off the bat because the early game can be a little bit tough. It's pretty important in the early game because, of course, you've got the Juggernauts that you're trying to work with. So Sovereignty was very important, especially since it gave us it gave us a really nice boost in HP 5. So that would allow us to stay in lane longer, which would give us the ability to farm longer, which is, of course, right now in the current meta, very important. I grabbed the Gauntlet of Thebes as kind of a flex pick because I realized that with our comp the way it was, we were going to have a hard time living. We had two mages. Granted, they had two mages as well, but they had a warrior, not a guardian. So they actually had a fairly balanced amount of damage output, which, because I chose Khepri, we did not have. So I had to adapt and and I built Gauntlet of Thebes to help my mages stay alive longer. This is something that Achilles did not mimic. Actually, nobody mimicked. So our mages wound up ultimately being a little tankier, and Eset's passive also provides, not her passive, that doesn't provide magic protections, but her silence, if used on allies, also provides some magic protections. So we had pretty good magic protections overall. We had a good boost to physical protections through my Sovereignty and Gauntlet of Thebes, so our mages were just overall tankier, which gave us a slight edge in the team fights. And I'll get to why that's even more important a little bit later. You can probably guess based on how they built, but I'm going to discuss that a bit more in depth. The Void Stone I built, again, purely because we had the two mages and myself as a guardian, so just building this allowed my mages to do a little bit better in terms of damage, which did wind up being of use. You'll notice that the Naja built Runic Shield as his only protection item. Shield of Regrowth only provides HP, I believe. Yeah, HP and some HP and MP5, but it only provides some health. So that wasn't really going to be a huge deal, but they did build a bit more magic protections than I think they normally would have. Well, the Achilles didn't. I'm going to talk about the Achilles in a hot minute. But Voidstone did turn out to be quite useful in that regard. Breastplate of Valor was just for the cooldowns and some physical protection. I was mainly worried at this point about Achilles killing me, because Achilles was the big threat to me personally. And then Mail of Renewal to help keep my allies alive. Again, I recognized that by choosing Khepri, I had put the team's balance out of whack. So I needed to do something to help keep the mages alive, because that was going to be very important, and also extremely important on her. And same thing with Sentinel's Embrace. This is actually ultimately the reason why I did not go with Warflag. Warflag, while it would have helped on her and to some extent Eset, it wasn't going to help keep them alive, and I needed those people alive. I didn't explain that at the time because I got distracted by other things, but that is ultimately why at the beginning of the game I chose Sentinel's Gift rather than the Warflag. This is ultimately the reason why. The On Her started off pretty aggressively with Transcendence, clearly was rushing this before even getting a starter item, which is a fine move to make, especially considering the fact that he was the only physical damage on the team, so this was even more pivotal. Death's Toll was a great pickup. Archival, Chin Size, a lot of really great moves. Now, actually, the Chin Size is a little bit more genius than it would appear at first glance. Keep in mind that Ra's Healing Circle there, I can't remember for the life of me what it's called right now, but that also boosts ally protections, which means that it's a little bit harder to punch through that. So Chin Size, while it does get affected by enemy protections, cares a little bit less about it. So this was actually a really great pickup here. And then Aussie, which was also really good. The only part of his build that I really dislike is Oboe. I really think Executioner would have been a better pickup here, because there really was not necessarily a huge need for Oboe specifically. Especially even in the lane fights or the team fights. Yes, I could see this being used to wipe out the Juggernaut and nearby enemies, so I can understand why it's being built here in Siege, but I think overall, instead of either Oboe or even better, instead of Death's Toll, I think a better pickup would have been Executioner, because again, the Achilles had good protections, especially against physical. Ra was boosting the protections of his team slightly, which I was basically trying to counter through my auras. Not directly, but I needed to do something. My auras still give me a slight edge, though, because they're permanent and Ra's Heal is not. But either way, I think On Her really could have benefited a lot from Executioner. But other than that, his build is extremely well thought out. And the build that he has isn't bad, he just doesn't have the penetration. Again, I think, hindsight 2020, I think that building Executioner instead of Death's Toll would have been a better choice here. The Eset went with Blood-Soaked Shroud, which is fine. This is actually a really good pickup considering they had the two physicals and the physical damage from Towers, Minions, and Juggernauts. And then Pythagram's Piece. And this is a really interesting pickup. I don't see this purchased a lot, but it is actually pretty good. It's not my favorite thing to build, and I think Eset could have built a couple of things that would have been a little bit better for her. I'm really fond of Bancroft's On Her. I think it really allows her to do a lot of damage with that, but be that as it may, Pythagram's Piece is an excellent choice. Really strong pick, especially for the early game. Gives you some nice early penetration, gives you a good amount of magical lifesteal, a little bit of health to tank with, and a decent amount of magic power. The Breastplate of Valor is an interesting choice, also understandable though. You've got some physical protections, you've got some cooldowns. That was a pretty smart choice here, a little bit unorthodox, but definitely not a bad idea. Chronos Pendant. Now see, this is where she was kind of playing with fire. You've got now 40% cooldown, so any other cooldown, she didn't build any more cooldown, but if she had, she would have been overcapping, and that would have been a little bit of a waste. So this was either, this is a build that this Red God X plays pretty frequently, and just really plays well with, or I don't know. But this was clearly very well planned out ahead of time. Kronos' Pendant is amazing on Eset, so that's fantastic. And then we've got Pestilence, which is excellent. I think maybe if you were going to go with the protection route, maybe this should have been built where Kronos Pendant is, and then build Kronos Pendant where Pestilence is. But then again, this seems like a very well thought out and pre-planned build, so this might there might be a specific reason for this. It is still, either way, it's an excellent pickup here. They do have a lot of healing. That is some magic protections Eset can use. Winged Blade, they do have a decent amount of slows. I almost built this myself, so I can understand this. It's a very odd build. This is clearly intended to be a support Eset in some way, shape, or form. And the idea fascinates me because she actually can play a pretty good support. So this is actually pretty fantastic, actually. I think this is great. I think this is something that should be experimented with more often. And I think this was decently built for what it was trying to do. And I think it was overall a really good play. And the Kukulkan also showed a lot of intelligence in the build. Overall, Book of Thoth right off the top, fantastic with Kukulkan. I do question the Rod of Tahuti. I think, personally, I would have gone with Abshard. Get that 20 to 30% magic pen. Breastplate of Valor is amazing. Divine Ruin, excellent choice. Gem of Isolation, very good on Kukulkan. I don't normally build this because I'm usually too busy building other things, but I will freely concede this is excellent on him. And Sands of Time. Now, this is probably built to go into the whatever that's called, that gives you extra power based on the amount of mana you have remaining, the percentage of mana you have remaining, so that was going to probably be what that wound up as. I think the only thing I would say is, yeah, swap out Rod of Tahuti for Abshard. I think the magic penetration would have done more good for Kukulkan than the passive boost here, although it's not a bad choice here. I just think in this scenario with Ra and Achilles and Naja, and us having 3 sources of magic damage, I just think the Abshard would have been a stronger pick here. Speaking of the enemy team, the Achilles played very well, but did not build particularly well, and there are 2 primary problems here. Now, when I showed up on the battlefield, I was clearly going to go full support. Most Khepris do. There are the occasional bold Khepris that will play aggressive or play, hybrid or what have you, but the Achilles should have recognized, hey, I've got these 2 mages, and I've got this assassin who is inherently squishier than maybe any warrior would be. Maybe I should play full tank. Now, the Achilles didn't build particularly. It's not so much that the Achilles built badly, it's that the Achilles did not alter their build to our team comp. Consider. The Sundering Axe is fine. This is actually a really nice pickup, especially considering Eset and Kukulkan both were building a certain amount of physical protections. This actually wound up being really effective, and also provides with a really excellent boost based on your protections, which allows the Achilles to really benefit from a full tank build. Even if, he still wants to do some damage here, Sundering Axe will ensure that he can still inflict decent amounts of damage through that. Now, Winged Blade was a good choice. We have a lot of slows on our team, so this is actually a great first pickup. We have the 3 magics. This was a good, strong initial pickup. Then you go into Glad Shield, which is great. That's fine. I believe when I was actually playing the match, I didn't notice the Winged Blade, and I said you shouldn't have built Glad Shield first. That was my mistake. But the Glad Shield is fine. This is a great pickup, again, for the full tank build, with splashing a little bit of damage in there. That's alright. You've got the cooldown reduction. Talisman of Energy. Now, this is where Achilles' build really starts to kind of fall off, because Talisman of Energy was not something his team needed. The movement speed in the MP5, that's always nice, but we weren't his team really couldn't take a huge advantage of that. The only real individual on the team that was going to be able to utilize the attack speed boost of Talisman of Energy was Thoth. Thoth also has a strong enough escape where he wasn't going to need the movement speed. Ra and Naja don't have escapes, or they need they would actually be able to benefit from this move speed, but since Achilles is the tank, technically speaking, Achilles is theoretically supposed to die first, so by the time that they would need to retreat, Talisman of Energy's presence probably wouldn't be there. So, if you are going to build Talisman of Energy as a support, you'd better be looking to boost the attack speed of your allies to make sure that they maximize their damage, so that way they can guaranteed, or let me rephrase that, be more likely to eliminate the enemy before you die. That is the point, and Talisman of Energy was not contributing to that. The Talisman of Energy was basically serving as magic protections and helping allies escape. But if you also watch Achilles' gameplay throughout this match. The Achilles was always in the middle of the fight, and while there were a couple of attempts at retreating, this was only when the Achilles was alone. If there were still allies alive, Achilles usually stuck around to try to make sure that they got out, which is what you're supposed to do, but Talisman of Energy wasn't providing them any benefit at that point in time. After all, Achilles would be staying behind and defending them, and once they got out of range of the Talisman of Energy, that was about it. And Talisman of Energy doesn't exactly have... I mean, it's got pretty good range, but, you know, if your allies are retreating and you're staying, that doesn't really matter. So, I really disagree with this choice. I think for our team comp, considering Anhur at this point... Well, Anhur had Death's Toll at this point, and the Eset was providing everyone with Magic Lifesteal. I think Pestilence would have been a better choice here. And then the Sledge, which was an okay pickup. This, I think, this is okay. There are a couple of other items that maybe I would have considered purchasing instead. Void Shield comes to mind. That would have been pretty strong. Help out your damage output, even if it's not your main point. And more especially, help out Naja a little bit. And I think that would have been a little bit of a better choice. Or alternatively, you could have gone with, say, Breastplate of Valor, and gotten some physical protections, some cooldown in there, some more cooldown, so you could stun more often, your ult would be up earlier, you'd be able to heal and dodge more often, be able to dance around and kind of be a agility tank sort of kind of simulation. Here's Void Shield after the fact, which is fine and all, but I just think the Sledge is here is kind of, I'm not sure what else to build here. And I still think Breastplate of Valor would have been a slightly better choice here. And then maybe finish up with Mail of Renewal, help keep your allies alive even more. Because clearly, I mean, if your allies aren't able to really escape, as they are here, Mail of Renewal will allow you to heal your allies, heal yourself, and extend not only your life, but your ability of your allies to stay in the fight. And then when you die, that's when they retreat anyways. And they're not going to need the healing at that point because they're running. It's a little bit different from Talisman of Energy, where Talisman of Energy is intended to help your allies run, but that only works if you're staying close enough to them and getting assist stacks often enough that you can maintain the boost in movement speed, because only Thoth really cared about the attack speed increase. No one else was really going to care. Naja to some extent, but I mean, Ra doesn't care about his auto attacks, and Achilles' auto attacks, while they have good range, aren't necessarily themselves... They don't themselves inherently carry any extra bonus. Thoth can shoot through his wall, and Naja can build the petals with his auto attacks. So both of those actually have a purpose behind their auto attacks. Speaking of Thoth, the Thoth was a bit interesting. The Thoth played really well. I mean, actually going back to Achilles for a hot second, the Achilles played really well, that's fine, but the Achilles played really well because to some extent Achilles wasn't massively considering his allies here. A lot of these items were really intended for Achilles, even to some extent Talisman of Energy. That's a movement speed boost and attack speed boost that Achilles can use, but doesn't necessarily need. And this... I pointed out that Talisman of Energy wasn't really going to help his allies. I'm not 100% sure this was built to help his allies. I made the assumption it was, but that's me being very generous and assuming Achilles actually intended to fill a support role. From the looks of the rest of the build, in all honesty, I'm not sure Achilles cared that much about his allies and wasn't really truly trying to play tank, so to speak, or support even. He was trying to play frontline as a broad term and do whatever he felt he needed to help the team and get the kills. But there wasn't really a whole lot of auras here to help his allies out, whereas that is actually most of my build. The only thing I didn't build that had an aura that helped allies was Breastplate of Valor, and that provided me with the cooldown reduction I needed to help my allies more. And that's just not reflected as much in the Achilles build. Yes, the Achilles did impressive damage, got some kills, played pretty well, but the difference here is that Achilles was not supporting his allies, especially since 3 of them were relatively squishy and needed the backup, just as my 3 were squishy and needed the backups, but I built protections for them to help keep them alive. Achilles did not, and that's ultimately one of the problems with their team. The Thoth played really well, the Thoth built really well. Sacrificial Shroud I do somewhat question, but they were ahead, so it wasn't necessarily an entirely bad idea. I can understand why this was built. And again, the Thoth did play it very well. Then you have Rod of Tahuti, Soul Gem, which is great on Thoth, especially if you're planning on building Sacrificial Shroud later on. Spear of Desolation, which is fantastic. Spear of the Magus. The only real issue I have with, well, the Thoth built okay. 20% penetration is fine. You've got 20 flat penetration, that's alright. The Thoth overall built really well, played really well. Definitely went full glass cannon, which is fine. That's actually how Thoth is ideally supposed to be played, based on his build. But it was overall just a really well played by the Thoth. The Thoth was definitely, in my opinion, the Thoth was one of the best players on their team. The Ra was interesting, because the Ra was trying to simultaneously heal allies and simultaneously deal damage. The problem here is not that the Ra played badly or that the Ra built wrong. The problem here is Ra does not play well against Khepri, or Anhur, or Eset. Actually, in fact, the only one of our team that Ra probably stood a decent chance against was Kukulkan, because Kukulkan can't really do a whole lot versus Ra. Oh, I'm in a tornado, let me slap down my heel and kind of counteract that, and then we're basically throwing, you're sneezing at me, I'm beaming you. I mean, they play very similarly, they have very similar concepts. Ra's heel is a bit more utilitarian, and Ra doesn't have quite as strong of movement speed buff to escape with. Instead, he does a little extra damage and blinds enemies. I mean, that's what it basically comes down to. But the Eset, once she hits him with the silence, which also slows him, or a single stun, she's got him in a really bad position. Anhur, of course, has his stun. He's got the slow from the obelisk, so Ra's going to have a rough time getting out of that. And, of course, I can root and abduct Ra very easily. So the Ra's problem here wasn't his gameplay, it wasn't his build. It was more of our team comp being very bad for Ra as a character overall. Now, notice that there were some attempts to try to overcome this. Conduit Gem would have really helped if he'd gone into the Archmage's Gem, I believe it's called, where he would have been able to get some damage mitigation going on there, which would have helped keep him alive, even in these ugly scenarios where he's being CC trained. And Doom Orb was also built, I think, to help Ra get out of ugly situations. The problem with Doom Orb this early is Doom Orb is insanely expensive, and I mean, it's just about as expensive as Rod of Tahuti, which would be that my only criticism of Thoth's build is that Rod of Tahuti was built too early. You didn't need the passive this early in the game. There's no real need to boost 25% of 140 power. Actually, it would have been 100 and whatever the Vampiric Shroud is. But there's at this early stage of the game, you really don't need this. You don't need Rod of Tahuti this early. Honestly, I go with Spear of Desolation, go with Soul Gem. Those are great early game items. Even Spear of the Magi, although the passive isn't going to really mean much now, at least Spear of the Magus is cheap enough to be a nice boost. That magical penetration of a flat 10 is a really nice bonus to your damage. Good magical power, a little bit of magical lifesteal. Spear of the Magus is a great early game item. Rod of Tahuti offers you a lot of magic power, some admittedly useful MP5, and some magic penetration that at that stage of the game you're not going to need. You don't need 10% magic penetration this early in the game. Kukulkan made the same error, granted, which I actually forgot to mention initially, but it's so common. And Ra's third item was Rod of Tahuti. Ra was building all of the expensive items first, which you don't want to do. This is insanely expensive at $28.50, I think. This is $3,000. It's like, what the heck? And then Lotus Crown. Lotus Crown should have been first. Lotus Crown should have been first. Ra was in the lane with Anhur. Ra was Anhur and I's magic opponent. So, knowing this, the Ra should have not built any of these items, and considering, I mean, it was fairly obvious that one of the lanes was going to be magic only, just build the Conduit Gem, and then see, well, am I in the lane with the physical damage opponent? That early game, that's fine. I mean, just play it safe. Communicate with your teammate, hey, I only have my starter item, let's play this a little safe until we figure out who our opponent is. You clear a wave, maybe you get some nice poke, or you try to get some nice poke. Once you get that poke, assuming things don't go badly, then you back really quick, grab the item. It is a bit risky to do, and it's a lot easier to do that in Conquest, obviously, which is where the idea comes from, where that usually is performed. But it's something you have to consider. And when Ra realized that he was in lane with Anhur, this should have been built right off the top. Physical protections, great. On her won't be able to kill me as hard. Khepri doesn't do much damage in the early game, practically none, in fact. I can't believe I got as many kills as I did that was not intentional, except for twice. There were 2 enemies I deliberately killed, and there was one I got greedy for and died to. That's on me. But the Lotus Crown should have been built earlier. That's MP5, it's physical protection, it's a little bit of magic power. It's a passive buff to protections for your allies and your heal, which in the early game, that 20 increased protections means a lot in the early game. So I would argue that this was built way too late, and these other 2 items were built way too early. You know, Spirit Desolation also would have been a better early game pickup. 10 flat penetration, some cooldown reduction, some good power, a really useful passive across all stages of the game. And then this was very likely going to be, I would have to say, probably Chronos Pendant, because he had no cooldown. But yeah, that would be Ra's problem. Ra's build wasn't wrong. Ra's build was out of order. All the expensive items were built first, and all the cheaper items were built second, which is really not how you want to run this. The Naja built really well, but again, it comes down to the Naja going up against a team comp that really isn't good for Naja, for the exact same reasons it's bad for Ra. Same reasons. Jotun's Wrath, great, great initial pickup, get that cooldown, get some really great damage there, it's relatively affordable. Warrior's Axe, that's fine. I think Bluestone might have been a little bit better for Naja. Could have gone into the red Bluestone, or whatever it's called, the Redstone, I can't remember what it's called. That could have really helped Naja a lot. Naja plays really well with that, but that's a personal preference. Runic Shield, great pickup. Oh, they've got 3 sources of magic damage. Runic Shield will really help and maintain my damage output. Absolutely fantastic choice here. Heartseeker. Built late enough. Heartseeker is very expensive. I believe it's 2,800. Very expensive item, but built late enough where it was a bit more manageable. 10% physical penetration was great. I mean, we had Eset with the hybrid, the almost hybrid build there. And myself, of course, boosting everyone's protections. Kukulkan built some physical protections as well, so Heartseeker was a really great choice here. Shield of Regrowth, this was to help pursue with the self-heal. Now, personally, I'm not really hugely fond of this on Naja. I can understand why it was built. That's cooldown reduction, that's some extra health. I personally, at this point, prefer Caduceus Shield, because at least I can maintain my power output. I get both protections. I get, I think, 30 or 35 of both protections, which is really helpful, rather than just health. And I think there's 200 or 250 health, don't quote me on that, with Caduceus Shield as well, so you get some health as well from that. The only thing you really don't get is cooldown reduction and the HP and MP5, which this late in the game wasn't going to matter as much. I mean, we were almost done at this point, so Shield of Regrowth's HP and MP5 wasn't going to matter at that point, really. And then Relic Dagger, which is fairly interesting. This had to have been built specifically for Blink, because I can't see the Naja. Well, I mean, the Naja was having a rough time with the crowd control, so it definitely benefited having the beads there, but I think primarily this is built for the Blink, which is weird, because by that time, Naja's damage had rapidly fallen off because Shield of Regrowth, and then after that Relic Dagger, neither of which contribute any kind of damage output. Actually, if you notice, Naja's power was only 150, which is not that high. You're not even breaking into the minimum threshold of Heartseeker's bonus damage scaling. I mean, that's a minimum of 200 physical power there, so I don't know why you would build Heartseeker and then not at least build enough damage to hit at least 200 power. I just do somewhat question Naja's build here. I think what wound up happening was Naja was originally intending to build kind of hybrid, but by the time that Naja finished Heartseeker, they realized that they were not doing well because of all the crowd control that we had, and started panic building some more protection-minded items that also happened to give him some cooldown reduction so he could use his abilities, or specifically his ult, more often, and trying to become an ult bot, basically, while also staying alive long enough to actually ult effectively. But that is only my opinion of what happened here, that's just what it looks like to me as an outside observer, and based on how Naja played throughout that match. If you have any other explanations for why the Naja may potentially have built these, I mean, I know that the Shield of Regrowth was to help Naja close distance, obviously, as well as make him a little bit tankier, and Relic Dagger was for the Blink, again, to close the distance, and also, again, make him slightly tankier. But ultimately, it finished Naja off. Naja needed more power, and to really double down on the power and try to just overwhelm a single target get that advantage for his team, even if he died afterwards, as long as the enemy team lost their person first through a super Naja combo, then that was going to work out. And then anything Naja did after that kill would have just been bonus. So I think that's what Naja should have done there. But with that being said, thank you all very much for joining me. If you liked this, please like and subscribe. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, what have you, please leave them down in the comment section below. Thank you all very much for joining me, and have a great 24 hours.